Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are in the world. Welcome to Anneke's Quest. My name is Anneke. And let's start with some housekeeping, otherwise I forget and it gets fumbled at the end. The question I have of you, the request I have of you, is to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. If you've done so, thank you so much. You're one of the 10% who does so. So when I look at the analytics, 10% of the people who watch the videos actually subscribe to it. And it would be amazing if everyone who watched it would subscribe, because it helps the algorithms and more people get to view it. So that's my request for today. If you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the top notification bell. And yeah, let's grow this channel so that I can make even more videos. That would be amazing. Thank you very much, and let's go. Thank you very much, and let's get on with the video of today. Thank you. Thank you for watching. It's been a long time ago that I've done a knitting video. I haven't even looked it up. No, I can remember halfway May. I'm pretty sure that's correct. When I finished my red cardigan, and then I needed a break. I really needed a break, not so much a break from knitting, but I needed to get some other things done in my life. I'm studying biomedicine at the moment, and I really needed to do that, because my red cardigan was meant to be a 4-week project. I don't really know what I was thinking, but you know, that was the general idea. I'll take a couple of weeks off and then I'll pick up my studies again. It turned out to be 6 weeks, so that's quite a bit longer. And yeah, I was desperate for the next part of my studies to be done, and for some reason I just could not get yeah, I like my study. I've chosen to do this, which normally means I'm watching the videos and I'm reading up and doing all the rest of it, and I go like, oh, that's nice, oh, I didn't know that, and oh yes, yeah, that makes sense. The videos of this particular subject, or the two subjects, I almost fell asleep. It was horrible. So I'm glad those two subjects are now over and done with. I did my test, I got 100%, so happy days. Got 100% in one go. That was, yeah, really happy days. I will still need to revise that bit, but at least I could move on to the next chapters, the next modules, the next bit. Yeah, it was a struggle, but that particular struggle is over. So, knitting. Normally I would say, oh, what am I wearing? I'm wearing a cotton dress because it's hot. It's hot. I don't do heat. And yeah, it's the weather outside. Today is Saturday the 10th of June, and it's about to thunder and rain, you know, so it's this oppressive feel in the air. Could be worse, but still, you know, it's not my jam, and definitely not to wear knitwear, because I haven't got summer knitwear yet. So what have I been working on? I have been working on my cardigan. This, I don't know if you've seen any of the other videos, but I've got a lot of superwash wool, and some of it I've knitted up and some of it is still laying around. And at the moment for clothes, I'm not really into superwash wool for myself personally to wear. I'm more in the rustic wool vibe at this moment in time. They all have their merits and it's all fine. But in the process of what am I going to do with that wool, I started making squares to make it into a blanket, and to hold the solid yarn colors of the superwash wool that I've got to hold it together with color changing yarn, sock yarn, so that there would be a bit of interest in it. I liked those squares so much, and they reminded me of the Harry Potter sweaters that Mrs. Weasley is knitting for the children every year. I thought that's quite nice because my house runs cold, and when people come, it's nice to be able to offer them a sweater or a cardigan or whatever to wear to keep them warm. Not necessary at this moment in time because it's way too hot, but on the whole, you know, autumn, winter, early spring, that's a good idea. So that's the general thought. This light brown I had knitted up into a sweater which I wasn't wearing, so I ripped it back. It was completely finished. I ripped it back, and I'm now knitting up into a very oversized cardigan. So I had done the body of the cardigan already, and to have something simple to knit whilst I was doing my studies again, I started doing this collar, scarf, collar. It's not a button band because there's no buttons, but this is the size of the neck, the width of the neck. And so I created this scarf. Basically, it's one very long piece, and I've just crocheted it together. So I picked up, how do I put this? So the yarn was underneath the work, and then I put the needle through one stitch and then through the next stitch of the top stitch, the light brown stitch, and then pick up the yarn from underneath, pull it through both stitches, and then create a chain stitch on top. I wasn't really sure how it was going to work, but because it looks like this is a slightly bigger gauge, it being a 1x1 rib, but when I put it together, it was fine. It's I thought maybe it was going to bulge a bit and I would have to undo it and skip every fourth row of the light brown or something like that, but I didn't. There was no need for it. I could just move on, so that's great. So currently I am crocheting basically the button band that isn't a button band, a scarf bit, give it a name, to the main body of the cardigan. The needle is still in it, so at the end the stitches are still live, just because I don't know exactly how long it's going to be, as in I know how long it should be, but at the moment I'm crocheting stitch by stitch. So I go through one stitch here, one stitch at the bottom, pick up the yarn at the bottom, pull it all through, and do the loop at the front. So it literally matches stitch by stitch, and I have to see if that's going to pull at all, because this seems to be a tighter row gauge than this, because this is a 1x1 rib and this is stockinette. So I'll just start off for about whatever 20 centimeters or something and see where I'm at, and then revise. If I need to pull it out, that's absolutely fine, and perhaps miss you know, every fourth stitch or something. I don't know. We'll have a look, see how it goes. So this is where I am right now. It's hanging over my red cardigan because this cardigan is really oversized. That's what it's meant to be, so bigger people who come to visit can wear it as well. I am crocheting it on, as I may have mentioned before, and now I'm I'm going down because I didn't know how long this piece needed to be, not exactly. So this is where I've ended up with the crocheting, and I'm close. Oh, sorry, wrong. I'm close, so I will go and fasten it as far as I can still manage to manipulate the knitting needles, and then I will knit the last bit, and that will be that for the it's not a button band, it's a scarfy collar, give it a name, I don't know what to call it, but yeah, it's got the width of the neck to cover, and then the next bit will be to knit the sleeves. And this is just a provisional close with with a very long circular needle, just to make it hang a bit better. Yeah, and you can see how big it is. I mean, it's huge. This goes round the skirt of the red cardigan. It's massive, and that was the whole idea. Okay, better get going and finish off this last bit of knitting and crocheting and bind off. And then of course I still have to tidy up all the what's it called, where you put a new yarn in, new ball of yarn in. That still needs to be done, but that will be done at the end. Okay. So that part is now finished, and you can see how it hangs at the front. There's no shaping in the body. There's no bust dart, because man should be able to wear this as well. So this is just a plain rectangle. Well, not quite, because there's the sleeve, which has got a bit of shaping. This is straight, and this is 45 degrees, and then there's another straight line at the bottom. This side seam is closed provisionally with a very long circular needle, so it looks a bit weird. It looks a bit skewed from where I'm looking, but anyway. So this is the back. It's fine. It's fine. I'm happy with it. As I said, I now need to create the sleeves. Not really sure yet about how wide I'm going to make the cuffs or how long I'm going to make the sleeves. If I would put it on, I would want the sleeves to turn over. I've got some very tall family members, being from the Netherlands. Yeah, so they should be able to wear it, and I'm only 170, which is for Dutch standards is not very tall. At least not anymore. When I was growing up, I was quite I was on the upper side of the curve, but people in the Netherlands, they've grown really tall over the past 20 years. So I want the length of the sleeve to be such that if I were to wear it, I would have to at least fold it over once, if not twice. I was thinking maybe to start at the top of the sleeve and then work my way down in equal measure, so to kind of knit both sleeves at the same time. Because I don't know how the yarn is going to, how much yarn I'm going to have. As in, I know that I've got enough for 2 sleeves. I know that. But how long I can make the sleeves, I don't know yet. So maybe that's a good idea to start at the top. I don't know. I don't know. It will be yeah, quite simple sleeve, a straight top. I think, yeah, straight top, and then a bit straight to the sides, and then 45 degrees out, and then a horizontal stripe, and then it tapers a bit, because the armhole is quite big. If you want to make that a straight sleeve, then you end up with very wide cuffs. So yeah, work in progress. It's going well. I'm not really sure how the sleeves will progress, because I will need to think about it a bit more because of the either increases or decreases, whichever way I start the sleeve. And yeah, I need to have my wits about me when I do that. So I don't know if I can do that whilst I'm studying. We'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I'm happy with how far I am, and I'm happy with how it looks at this moment in time. Next project. This is my very first knitted t-shirt for the summer, and it's tencel. I've never knitted with tencel before. I'm knitting with it now, and it knits up lovely. It's fine. It is very slippery, so I have to be very aware of where my needles are and that the stitches don't slip off the needles. It's also my first, not my first go at a top-down sweater with a round yoke. I've tried another one, the blue one that set my teeth on edge, where I didn't like the collar. So this is my second attempt, and I really love the neckline. I love it. It sits well, it hangs well, it fits me, it stays put. It is fine. However, this whole thing is getting so enormous. It's a no. It's a no. It reminds me of my dark brown sweater, which I wanted to be oversized, and I made it oversized, but when I got it, it draped different than the sweater I was trying to replace. So it was too wide in the end, and this is too wide as well. And if you look here, I don't know if it comes across on camera, but I've got a whole load of decreases in the back. So just to get rid of some of this fabric, and I wanted to keep the roundness of the yoke. So I wanted the roundness to continue, because that is the drape of the fabric. And I thought, if I take it away on the side here, then I will keep this. But the whole thing is way too big. Way too big. So I've been looking at this for a long time. I don't know when the last time was I knitted at it. And it's I either have to rip it back very far to get rid of this and stop increasing much higher up, and to start the bit of raglan to get extra fabric to go under the arm, much higher up as well, maybe even there. And I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling ripping back to that point and starting again, because when I try it on, the fabric has such drape that initially it looks like it fits, and only when I put it on the mannequin and look at the proportions do I go like, this is not right. This really is not right. And I've got no problems with ripping back. That's not the thing. It's just how far do I rip back, and if I start knitting again, how do I know it fits? So my gut is kind of going towards, let's just start doing it bottom up. Let's just start in the round, see how many, take this piece of fabric from well below the increases. Let's take that piece of fabric, use that as my swatch, and make sure it fits in the way that I want it to fit, and make it a bottom up t-shirt. Maybe I've got the bandwidth to do something with a round neck, but I don't think so at the moment. There's too much going on in my life, so I think it might end up as a raglan t-shirt with darts. That's most probably what it's going to end up with. However, I so like this neckline. It's the first time that a big neckline like this actually sits in the right place and kind of stays put. Of course, I don't know what it's like to wear, whether it will stay put when I wear it, but the other garments that I've made with a wider neckline, where I think, oh, it looks so nice on the mannequin, and then I put it on and it kind of falls off my shoulder. So with trying it on, this doesn't do that. How will it wear? I don't know. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I do want this to be a relatively cropped t-shirt, which is also the reason why I want it to be not quite as boxy as this, because that's too oversized and then there's too much air coming in. Not that I want it to be fitted, but more fitted than this. I want some positive ease, but you know, not like this. So that's the direction my mind is going, to just start bottom up, simple t-shirt, darts, raglan, and then see if I can get some sort of nice neckline. Because that's a bit of the problem with raglan. You end up, if you do nothing, you end up with a square neck, and it takes quite a lot of shaping to get the squareness out of the neck and make it stay put. So yeah, if anyone's got any ideas, please let me know, and yeah, I might take it into account. But as I said, I really like it. I want this to be to go on top of a dark brown dress. I got some elastic band, so I might make a skirt with an elastic band, and then build up a top on it. So it will be dress, and then to have elastic band in the back, so it kind of scrunches up, because things have to be easy. You may know by now I don't like to fiddle with my clothes, and it would be nice. This color goes really well with dark brown. We will see. We will see. Yeah, that's as far as I've got. I don't know whether I told it in a previous video. So I worked out the maths for the increases. So if you do a normal raglan, you get 8 extra stitches every 2 rounds, because you skip a round and then you do 8 increases. So basically it's 4 increases per round, which gives you a square neck. Now, the more places you increase, the rounder the neck becomes. So this is 24 places of increases every 6 rounds, because 6 times 4 is 24. So that's what I've done. So every 6th round I did one increase 24 times. Also the increases kind of go at a diagonal, because I increased it on the same side of the stitch marker every time. I might look into that. It doesn't bother me, but it could affect the way things fall in the end, how it drapes. It would be better to do one side of the stitch marker, other side of the stitch marker, so it kind of zigzags more in a straight line. Sorry, I keep on looking at that because it reminds me of what to say. So yeah, that's what I was working on, which I put aside for a bit, and yeah, I will make up my mind, and because that's the other thing. If I do the mats for a bottom-up one, I've got a project that's just knitting. Go round and round and round until I meet the the armhole, and then I need to do stuff. But it's an easy thing to get my head around, to just go round and round, and I can do that whilst I listen to lectures. So that might happen. So that are my 2 works in progress. Now, something about the past. One moment. My red cardigan. Thank you all for watching. Thank you all for leaving comments. It was absolutely amazing. And one of the comments I got really made me think. The lady's called Marianne Halstead. I hope I pronounced your name correctly. And she suggested to create my own tape. So this steek, I wanted to cover this steek with a velvet ribbon, preferably silk or cotton, so it's a natural fiber, especially in the back, because the back has got 2 layers of steek on top of each other. And I haven't cut any of those yarns yet. It needs to be tidied up, but I want to tidy it up whilst I attach that ribbon. And Marianne said, why don't you weave your own band, because then you've got the right materials, because it's wool, it's the same, and the color matches, and you can make it whichever way you want to. And I thought, bother. Now I need to do another project. And she's absolutely right, you know, absolutely right. It's in a way, it's a logical thing, and I hadn't thought about it. I hadn't thought of it. I don't know why I want a velvet ribbon. For me, it finishes it off, but it makes sense. So yes, I will still be looking for a velvet ribbon, but there might be a little bit of weaving in my near future. She suggested tablet weaving or an inkle loom, inkle band. I don't think it's going to be tablet weaving, because that for me takes too much brain space. Although with tablet weaving you can make beautiful patterns, and I could repeat the pattern that is in the waist. So I could aim for that. But I just don't have the bandwidth for that. It's just, that's not going to happen anytime soon. So maybe just a very simple band, just one of the colors, or maybe stripes. I don't know. I don't know. I've got a little children's loom. I'm pretty sure I can get a couple of meters on that because it's only a narrow band, so you know it would it might not be all on the same space. It might spread out a bit where you roll it up, but yeah, that might be in my near future because that's easy to do. And an inkle loom is set length, and the one you can get them as in that there's a long length, but yeah, I don't have that. I've got the children's loom, so if I'm going to do that, it will be with the children's loom. So that's all the knitting for the time being. I am still making up my mind, umming and ahhing about am I going to make a cardigan or a sweater next out of this yarn, which is teal. I have spoken about this before. I still haven't made up my mind. And maybe I'm going to make a sweater that looks like a cardigan because I like the design of the cardigan. I don't know yet. I cannot decide, and that's fine. I'll decide that one first because this is something I can wear during the summer, and this is pure wool, so really, really hot. Life has been interesting. I was holding down 3 jobs, and one of the jobs they reorganized, and I was the last one in and I'm the first one out. So that one stopped. I've applied for something else, which is, yeah, I don't know if it's going to happen because of the hours I had set that I wanted to work. They might, and they didn't say which hours they wanted, so I just gave them my preference. So yeah, I don't know how that's going to pan out. I also applied for another job and I haven't heard back from them in a fortnight. I think that's really weird. You know, you can at least say, oh, thank you for your email, and we're looking into it. We'll wait for the other applicants to finish that thing, because I applied for it. The newspaper, it was our weekly newspaper, the regional newspaper, and I saw the advert I think on Friday and I applied on Saturday, something like that. And that's now, it's a fortnight ago. And I think, how much time do they need? Or let me know, you know, that doesn't look like a good match. So to know from us, or we've hired someone else. Well, anything, any communication would have been nice. But yeah, no communication at all. So that's interesting. Yeah, we'll see. Something will come up. I'm also working more and more on my own things again, which is interesting because that's been on hold for a long time just because of how life developed. And it's all good and well to be a therapist and to do coaching and therapies for health and mental health and all the rest of it, which of course during COVID stopped. The places where I did it, one was the theatre and the other one is Harley Street. They both closed down. So yeah, that's the end of that. And I did do some things online, but not enough. And one of the reasons was that a lot of things happened in my own life. So I find it very difficult to tell other people what to do if I'm not right. If I'm not right within myself, who am I to tell people what to do? And bit by bit I'm coming out of that, which is really, really great, because it's been a rotten time. It's been a rotten time for lots of people. It got compounded by a lot of other factors. Yeah, it's a long story, and I'm not sure this is the place, but one of the reasons is that I had to move twice during COVID because the landlord sold the house. So landlord sold the house, had to move. Is this going to be a long-term let? They asked, both of those landlords asked, yeah, it's a long-term let, isn't it? Long-term let. Yes, please. And both instances, they sold the house whilst I was in it. And so I've moved 3 times in 3 years, which is quite a feat, I think. And all under horrible circumstances. It wasn't me who initiated well, the first time it was, but the second and the third time wasn't. And all 3 times were just horrible, because there was nothing on the market. The first time around I didn't have my settlement status, and the other 2 times I did have my settlement status, but there was nothing on the market, and everyone was looking. So it's been really, really interesting. Yeah, with a court case hanging over my head, and it got ugly, and when life starts to pile things on top of each other, it wasn't just one thing, it was one and then another and another and another, and in the end, you know, you feel like drowning, because there was no way out. You know, I cannot magic a house. I cannot magic you know, moving from A to B. It's just not going to happen. And I've moved a lot, so moving in itself is fine, although I am getting a bit fed up with it. But yeah, when life is piling up on top of you, and it's one problem after the other, after the other, after the other, yeah, life becomes interesting. And I have to say, I learned a lot. I learned an awful lot, with hardly any income, and yet having outgoings. And I know a lot of people go through that. As I said, everyone's got their own story, and I've got mine. But it is nice, because nice. No, it's not nice. It was horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But I've always been good at empathy. I've lived a life already, and I've gone through rubbish and survived it, and not just survived it, but taken it on board, and you know, thrived on it, coming out better than I went in, if that makes sense. So I've always been quite good at empathy, but to live through even more challenging times, things that I was not prepared for at all, because that had, you know, that's not the life I've lived. Yeah. There's empathy and there is knowing, and there are now far more things I know because I lived through it. And do I know you know, a magic solution for people who've got a whole load of problems stacked on top of each other? No, I don't have a magic solution. I do know what I did, and I also know that in a way it works. So if you've got no way out, as in absolutely, you know, there's no way to turn, you've got no idea what's happening the next day. What I did was do something nice, because it didn't matter anyway. It didn't matter. I couldn't change the situation, so it didn't matter what I was going to do. And you know, a lot of the work had stopped, there was a little bit of work going on, but as in bringing in an income. I was working a lot, but no income. But there was some work I did that generated an income, but you know, nowhere near what I needed. So what I did was to do something I like. And for me at the time, knitting is what I like. So I knitted a lot, and it didn't matter. It was the process of knitting. So I wasn't interested in the outcome. The outcome for me was learning. I needed to learn. And for me, I've got a whole series of a scarf I made. It has had so many iterations. And the brown sweater, which I'm now turning into a cardigan, that one has had many, many, many iterations, and I learned something of it every time I ripped it back, and that worked for me, to look at videos online that I found inspiring or nice or made me smile or anything positive. And what I found was, even though I know the theory, I hadn't lived through it that way, is that when you do something nice, the vibe changes. And it's that stacks up as well, in a way. So you've got all the rubbish that stacks up all by itself, you know, it doesn't need any help. It does that all by itself. But to create something positive, you need to do things that you enjoy doing. And whether that's knitting or crochet or drawing or playing music or calling a friend or whatever, anything that's positive, anything that puts a smile on your face, anything that gives you a bit of a glint in your eye, that's a good thing. And even if it's 5 minutes, that's a 5-minute win. And you have to, no, you don't have to. I was journaling everything. So I was journaling the good, the bad, the ugly, but I was specifically journaling the good bits. And in the morning, I would set myself up for how many good things am I going to do today? What am I going to see? What am I going to hear? What am I going to do? And I was going to specifically look for it. And in the evening, I had to write down 10 things, 10 nice things. Because and what it does is, in the morning already, you're setting yourself up for, oh, there's going to be nice things today. Yes, there's rubbish. There's a lot of rubbish. And the rubbish will be there. But I'm going to choose to do 10 nice things, whatever it is. And so thinking about it in the morning is already like, oh, that's interesting. What is it going to be? And sometimes you know what you're going to do. It might be knitting or another project you're working on. But it might also be me working in the garden and there being a robin which just comes close, and you go like, that's very close for a bird, you know, to come this near. Which puts a smile on my face, you know, I like things like that. So then during the day, whilst I was looking out for those nice things, it put me in the right vibe. And then in the evening, when I wrote down, oh, these are the things that I've noticed today, these are the things that I've done today. So I've seen a robin and it made me feel whatever. Write down how it made you feel. So you are basically so you're pre-living it, you're living it, and then you're reliving it. So 3 times a day, 3 moments a day, 10 times a day, you have something nice going on in your life. And make that stack up as well. And if you're going through a particularly bad day, you just take your journal and you go through all the good things that you have written down before. It sounds simple, and sometimes simple is all you can do. sometimes that's the only thing you can manage. And if that's the case, then that's the case. I mean, there's no point in beating yourself up about it, because there's already enough rubbish going on. Beating yourself up about something, you know, it's going to add to the rubbish, and what you're trying to do is to create a good vibe. So yeah, I'm starting thinking about doing therapies again. I'm starting thinking about getting back into it. It will take a while because, as I said, my studies at this moment in time take priority. I need to hand in a paper by the end of July, and I've got a major exam the end of August. I've got some other tests and stuff going on in between, so I need to focus on that. But yeah, that's where I'm at, and if you can, you know, if this is useful for you, by all means, take it and run with it. Something else that is going on is I've applied to be an on-call firefighter. It has never been on my mind, ever, because I've never been in a position to do that. But yeah, someone pointed it out to me, and I live close enough to the station to be able to do that. So the first thing was a test. I had to do an English and maths test, because I had to be at least at the GCSE level, and I had to be able to hand that over. Well, I didn't study in Great Britain, so I didn't have GCSE, and they said, yeah, but that or the equivalent in whatever, the equivalent or more. So I gave them a copy of my my degree, which makes me an engineer. I think that will do for maths. No. And I'm a trainer of NLP, which I did in Great Britain. I did the training in Great Britain, which you would think, you know, you kind of know the language then. No, it got rejected by HR, so I had to sit in a maths and English test this week. I passed, by the way, I passed, so that's good. So there's an interview coming up, and then there's a medical, a physical, and a fitness test. So I'm going to I have to go to the gym, which is fine, because there are some specific tests, and I want to know where I am on the scale. Can I do it already, or do I need to train for it? And for some things, I think it would be a good idea to train. Let's put it that way. So yeah, that's going on. Yeah, that's, and finding work to make things ticking over until the moment I've got my act together and start doing therapy again. That would be great. That would be great. I'm also looking for land or a small holding. You may have seen my previous video, which is driving around in the countryside on my way to a small holding. It's a long drive. And initially I thought, oh, for this video I'll do a little bit of an intro, and then I'll let the video run with some background music. Turns out I'm waffling on the entire video. I think it's more than an hour long, so that's quite a long time of waffling. So if you want to hear me waffling about the small holding or homestead, if you're from the United States, a homestead, if you want to hear me talk about that, then by all means go and watch that video. It's a beautiful drive. It's I start, you know, close to my house and drive to a small holding in Wales. Beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. It's absolutely gorgeous. I really like it here. And as I say in the video, if I'm talking about what inspires me, and one of the things that inspire me is the landscape, that's the landscape. You know, that's what inspires me, and nature and all the rest of it. But landscape wise, yeah, I'll take you along for that particular ride to the small holding. I still have to edit the way back, I did take some footage whilst I was walking around the property land. I don't have footage of the property itself, the buildings, because it was an open day, so there were lots of people walking around, and yeah, you know, I wanted to leave them in peace. The land was beautiful, it was very quiet, it didn't make my heart sing, and I don't know what that is, that X factor quality. And on the way back, once I get to it, you will see that I came across a piece of land on the edge of a village. So completely the polar opposite of what I'd just been visiting. So the property I had visited was about 35 acres. It was a little bit of grassland, but the rest was woodland, with some ancient woodland, and it was very steep. It was in the middle of nowhere, no direct neighbors. When I walk around, at one moment I stopped talking just to listen to the silence, and that bit was amazing. It was really, really quiet, and you could just be yourself there. It did have a lot of downsides as well, but the next property I drove past was on the edge of a village. It was very flat. It didn't have any features to speak of. So yeah, but that was too small. It was only 5 acres. For people who count in hectares, 1 hectare is 2.5 acres. So 5 acres is 2 hectares. Yeah. So yeah, I'm still looking for that. So that's also, you know, rolling on in the background, me looking for land. I hope to go to visit some land. I was hoping to do it this morning, but the weather wasn't right. Why wasn't the weather right? Because I wanted to know, there's a big object to one side of the land, and I wanted to know the shadow it casts, and it's now almost midsummer day, so if it casts a shadow now, it will definitely cast a shadow in midwinter. And I've been in places and I've seen places where there's no sun during winter, and that's very depressing. I mean, I'm not a sun worshipper, but it's very depressing if you don't have sun at all during winter. So I'm wondering when the sun will shine on that property, and I think if I look at the map, I think it's in midwinter it will be midday, which is quite late. But then from midday onwards it will have sun. But I'd like to see it for real. So yeah, that's a property I'll have a look at. Yeah, also running in the background, which, you know, it's all adding up. I also have to go to the Netherlands for a couple of weeks to help look after my mum, because my brother takes his family on a holiday. So yeah, and time goes so quickly. It's going so quickly. So it's now the 10th of June. You know, June will be gone in an instant. And yeah, if I just go through my head of, you know, I need to study, I need to do my firefighter stuff, finish my assignment, find a place to live, you know, the quicker the better. That's all. It's all adding up. So I think that therapy-wise, I'll be starting in September. That's the aim, to have everything up and running, and September should be, yeah, my current aim to start doing therapies again. Yeah, fingers crossed. We'll see how it goes. Now, if you like the videos, whether it's the ones I'm rambling on or whether it's about knitting or, you know, driving around in the British countryside or visiting properties. If you like that, there is a coffee link. It's in the description, and you can donate any amount. There's it says £5, but that's you know, you can put a cursor on it and you can wipe it off. You know, it could be £1, it could be more, it could be any number you like. And yeah, all that money will go towards my small holding. Yeah, and the aim is to take you along on that journey to create the small holding, to have a therapy center there, and that people are able to come and stay. I won't be running a hotel. I have told that in another video as well. I won't be running a hotel, and I'm a morning person, so yeah, there's that. But you know, if you're really yeah, for people who really need a break, it's nice to be able to step out of your environment and experience something completely different, to work on yourself. That's a lot. And yeah, as I said, I there's no pressure whatsoever. I think the biggest initial push that you could do is subscription, because that changes the algorithms of YouTube. Especially since I make a varied, especially since I've got a variety of topics. It's not all knitting, it's not all, you know. Anyway, you figure it out. You do you. But subscription would be amazing, amazing, amazing. So the future, what does it hold? The future holds all the things I mentioned before, and knitting on this and knitting on my cardigan, the sleeves, which is enough to get on with. Yeah, and maybe I'll do some testing for my woolly sweater. I don't know yet, but I'd like to finish this because I think it's a beautiful fabric, and I want to know what it wears like, whether it's nice to wear. So there's that. I'm gonna love you and leave you, and wish you all the best for this weekend. And yeah, until we meet again, I hope it is soon with some finished objects. That would be great. Thank you very much for watching, and until next time. See you. Bye bye.